We are all heartened to see this successful attack in Crimea by Ukrainian forces, but it does rather speak to us a bit about what we perceive as a stalemate that has broken out. Are the Ukrainians still making progress?
Of course, it's hard to say that this year was as successful as 2022 because, everyone was watching Ukraine taking back Kherson, taking back the Kharkiv region, and everyone was expecting Ukraine to make a successful counteroffensive to take back Zaporizhzhia, Crimea, and other regions. But you should understand, and I think that General Zaluzhny, who is the head of the Ukrainian army, said it very in the right way. What we are doing right now, we are making sure that Russia does not have the resource to attack us anymore. And what we are making good is that we are defending our country. But what is needed is, of course, we have not received all the weapons which were promised to us. And the EU have not fulfilled its duty to bring to Ukraine 1 million of artillery shells. So that's why I want to say that this year it was successful for us, because if you watch through the statistics of how many tanks, artillery, how many soldiers we kill, the numbers are growing high every month.
I mean, it just speaks to the brutality of the illegal war prosecuted against the Ukraine by Russia, that we have to measure this in terms of people being killed. But obviously here in the West, we'll hope that Ukraine succeeds in liberating its territory from Russia. You pick up particularly on the fact that the EU hasn't provided all of the equipment that you need, that has already been promised. But we also hear today that the Americans are about to put through a new large aid package of $250 million. What will that be spent on, and will that enable Ukraine to continue to prosecute this war against Russia?
If you follow what the packages are included, they are mostly including the shells which we need. They're including the small minor equipment, but unfortunately, this is not enough for Ukraine to make a successful offensive, because all the packages which were given to us for the last half a year or so, they are only enough to sustain where we are. Because when we are saying, guys, we need F-16, we need Storm Shadows, we need rockets like ATACMS, which can target for 300 kilometers, every day we are proving that we will use them in the right way. And the recent shell of the Novocherkassk Russian ship in the Feodosia proved it, that whenever someone is giving us a weapon, we are using it in a very effective way, which is not targeting civilians, which is just hitting the military capacity of the Russian army.
And it's beginning to come out now in the news that President Putin was absolutely furious about the loss of that ship and is contemplating revenge attacks on the Ukraine, which of course will be extremely worrying for the civilian populations who Russia has targeted mercilessly, actually, during this conflict. Do you have any idea what those revenge attacks may be, or the parts of the country that are being readied for Russia to strike back?
No, let me be very clear on this. There is no revenge on something which we are doing. There's only the will of Putin to make sure there is no Ukraine and no Ukrainian nation. Because unfortunately, this is not in the news, that every night we have Shahed drone strikes, despite what Ukrainian army is doing. Every day we have air alarms. Every day Russia is killing civilians in Kharkiv, in Donetsk, in Kherson region. 2 days ago, Russia hit the Kherson train station, where 140 people were waiting for the train to evacuate them from the Kherson. So there is no revenge that they're doing. This is terrorism, what they're doing, because it's happening every day, despite what we have done. It will happen. If Ukrainian army stops, they will not stop hitting civilians. They will do it even more. And that's unfortunately, this is the reality of this war, that they don't care. They will just kill us, and they will aim to kill more Ukrainians if they have this chance.
And here, in terms of the end of this war, will this war only end if Ukraine manages to take back all the territory that's been stolen from it illegally by Russia? And if so, could you put a time period on that? Is there a sort of a view how long this war would go on for?
Unfortunately, no one in the world, I think, can say when the war can end. I think the only person who can really say this is President Putin, who can just withdraw his troops from all Ukrainian territories and stop the war the next day. Of course, you know, when we receive everything we are asking for, and when we make sure that there is not a single Russian soldier in Ukraine, it's not the end. Because the biggest thing which we should do is to bring the Russian regime to responsibility. Because if there is no responsibility for terrorists like them, we will receive more events like which happened in Gaza in October. We'll receive wars in other parts of the region, because this is the fight, and I think your Minister of Defense said it the very right way, that this is the fight against the tyranny in the world, that we must make sure that they don't have even the will to attack a democratic country. So even if we take all the territories back, it's not the end. Of course, this will end the combat activities, but we must make sure that they're brought to responsibility. And of course, we must yet push again and ask our partners, please provide us with everything we need to make sure that we are successful in this war.
And finally, of course, 2024 is going to be a year of the European elections, an election here in the United Kingdom, and the American election. Particularly looking at the American election, do you think Ukraine has anything to fear from Donald Trump potentially becoming the next president of the United States, who has said he will end this war in a day?
Of course, we fear because we feel that he doesn't have the real understanding of what is happening here. President Zelensky was inviting Donald Trump to come to Kyiv to talk, to see what is happening, to go to the places where Russia have conducted war crimes. He refused the invitation. And we are just afraid that with him coming to power, it will be even harder to yet again prove something which I think it's easy to understand, that in this war, the bright side is only the Ukrainian side, the democratic side. And it's hard to prove to someone who wants to shake hands with dictators like the Northern Korean leader. He wants to shake hands with Putin. This, of course, will not make any good for us. But let's see. We really see that right now we have a good bipartisan support, that there are a lot of great friends among the Republican Party and in the Democratic Party also. And of course, we hope that the support we are receiving from the US, from the United Kingdom, from the EU will never stop for us, because we just need it. It's why we are living right now, and why we are capable of continuing the fight